Turnip boy commits tax evasion. That was so fun. You? Am I speaking to you?
Oh, yes?
I heard from one of the others you had reached a temporary end to your quest. Worry not, there are more than enough challenges to brave the monolith of fate. The way to the past and continuation of the story will come soon. Do not worry. The monolith of fate. Monolith of fate is a medium through which one may explore the many alternate timelines that may branch from ours. I see now that you're ready to explore the winding paths of the monolith. Be careful though. Each turn, each choice will make your journey more strange and perilous. Do not lose yourself, traveler. Okay. Will you buy my stuff? Equipped with lightning, armor and mana. Increase lightning damage while you have lightning Argus and chance to get another Argus when hit. That seems like a good one.
Take care.
Okay. Monolith of Fate. I think it's tea time though. Cool. There are a few portals here. Face the monolith's challenges. Conquer the timeline's quest echoes. Is this where I am? Face the monolith's quest. Monolith, conquer the okay. Ah. Quest echo locked. 50 stability. Fall of the Outcasts. I guess I'll go here first. Enemies have extra health and damage. 25% increased item rarity. 15% increased experience gain. Piles of gold. 10 timeline stability. Okay, or I can go to the slums. For glyphs. Panz is unstable. Panz unhinged. Unchained. Panztastic unchained.
Fools. Fools.
Waste pools. Yeah, you know, toilet water. This was the first one in the Monolith quest chain. It does say 38. Does that mean I'm supposed to beat the game in 38? I don't think so, because the last zone is 50 something.
Fools. Fools. I cannot do that.
I'm already I'm thinking of the other classes now. I'm like, oh, what do I want to do next? Alright, so we're going to just seal the wild gate.
I cannot do that.
We need a spin to win character. Spin I'm gonna be playing a spin to win Juggernaut though on the Gauntlet. Oh, maybe I don't do that as a spin to win. Maybe we do that as a All the Storms. Not having almost no mana is bad.
I cannot do that.
Use your portal to claim your bounty. I like bounty. Dude, I did the challenge. Bah, another timeline and still no arena key. Arena key? Yes, I enjoy carving through those foes up and down the paths of the timelines well enough, but I can't resist the thrill of endless battle. There's a portal to the endless arena back on the main island, but it needs an arena key to enter. Best way to get one? These chests that pop up whenever you finish a dip in the monolith have one sometimes. Ooh, I wonder if mine has one. Where's my chest?
Take a load off.
Wait, I just did... Oh, is it this thing? I didn't get an arena key.
Take a load off.
Find an arena key and enter the endless arena. Alright, so that got completed. What did it do? Gave me 10 timeline stability. Something happens there. That's going to be 12. Wait, what's this one? Increased experience game and have tomes of experience. Oh, I like increased experience game. That's 10% increased experience game. Enemies deal 12% increased damage and have 100% increased crit strike chance. Well, that sounds like it sucks. Enemies have plus 15 to all resistances. That also sounds like it sucks. It's a level 55 though. That's the level 55. It wasn't 55 when we got there. Well, it didn't say it was. Defiled Valley. Well, I think it did in the previous, like, map screen. Yeah, it's saying 37, but it said 55 on the thing, so I don't know what the deal is. Maybe that's the level of the zone in the campaign. so much gold. Fast dudes. What's the increased rarity now? Channel. Was that the boss dude? That was the boss dude, okay. Give me that arena key. I got books? Panz books? Oh, they're just chunks of experience. Ah, I see. That's a decent chunk of experience. Although, is there any way of knowing how much actual numbered experience you need to get to the next level? Anywhere? Like, there's a little bar, but... Rewards, times of experience, stability, fixed shards, piles of gold, rare shields. I wonder if you can keep running the same one. I'll have to have a look again. Let's go this way. That's my dude walking.
Fools. Fools.
Oh no. That'll duplicate that. Could be one. Those poor blind crabs. They got no idea what's going on. Ting, ting, ting. Oh, the sound of money. Hey, good Conus. Yes, they are planning multiplayer. It's on the roadmap to be included in the next major patch. I don't know whether that just means being able to play alongside someone or just having trade. I haven't really looked into it. I'm more of a single player person. And don't ever worry about asking a question that other people have asked. You know, you've come here to get information. You know, you can ask away. Oh, did he get twinned? Oh,
I cannot do that.
I wish you could.
I cannot do that.
I'm gonna need to get more mana
I
regen.
cannot
This
do
is
that.
ever since we got that extra lightning thing, it's just cost so much to place it. Yeah, it's quite fun. It's you know, not as complicated as Path of Exile, which is nice. And it's got a lot more depth than Diablo, so I think that's the standard, like standard go-to phrase for it. I've really enjoyed it. This has been my first character that I started a character I did for a few hours the other day, and sort of got nowhere. I wasn't, that character wasn't really for me, but this one's working out really well. It sounds perfect. Then yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because yeah, each of the skills, you get quite a few spells you can choose from. So just from being mage, you unlock these ones at certain levels on your talent tree. Is another way. Like, you've got to spend at least 20 points to ascend. You can keep spending points here if you want to. And I think the other ones come from... Oh, these are the ones you get, yeah, from using the mage tree. So these ones are just from leveling up. So you can use these at any time, but they're only level 1 spells. And then these ones you get from spending enough points in the other trees, your ascendancy trees. So we ascended as a sorcerer. So we get Meteor, but we're not using it because lightning build. And then if the more points you spend, then you can get access to other ones. So I'm using Arcane Ascendance. I'm not using Static Orb, Ice Barrier, or Black Hole. Yeah, some people said it's a little bit like got some Grim Dawn feel to it. I haven't played Grim Dawn, so can't compare. So I can put points in. Runemaster's not available yet because still early access game, but Spellblade is. So I could put points in there to get Flame Reave or Enchant Weapon. but you can't go more than halfway up the tree that you're not ascended in. So you can't get the later spells. And then you level up 5 spells. Grim Dawn was how Diablo 3 should have been. Interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed Diablo 1. Well, I enjoyed Diablo 1 because it really used to stress out my my Pentium. I think I might have even had a 486 back then. Or 386? I don't know. But anyway, Diablo 2 was great, but I just couldn't get into Diablo 3. Like halfway through it and I just couldn't be bothered. And I'd spent years waiting and playing all different ARPGs to do it. And I think mainly I'd been burnt out on so many free-to-play web browser ones. I have heaps of fond memories of Diablo 2, and I didn't even PvP. Like, that wasn't my thing, I just liked playing it. The issue for me with Diablo 3 is the NPCs just wouldn't shut up. You know, there was just so much talky talk, and I didn't want to miss anything because in case they're giving you directions on where to go or what to do or if it was related to the story. But it's like they'd start telling you about something, you're like, oh, this is interesting, and then, you know, they'd be like, yeah, and then I ran into my neighbor and she said, look, I've got to hang out the washing, will you come back and let me show you some photos of the kids first, type of stuff. I'm like, I don't care about your day. I mean, obviously it wasn't that bad, but that's what I felt like, you know? Yeah, you did a lot of stuff and it felt like you did nothing. And it wasn't even like a typical MMORPG type of thing where you're like the town, you know, apple picker's son who wants to be a warrior and has to go on an adventure to become that warrior. You know, and you start off killing the 10 proverbial rats and, you know, finding the neighbor's lost sheep sort of stuff and escorting Timmy out of the well. You know, that makes sense because that's like your character progressing and becoming a hero on the way to saving the world. But yeah, the Diablo 3 stuff, it just sort of felt like, yeah, empty. But this is really cool. Like the story's interesting, nothing special, but you level up all the spells, so they all have their own talent trees. And some of them are really cool, like they've got some really good interactions where, like one of them, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them has a lightning something or other. Oh yeah, this one, automatically casts Lightning Blast. Right? But because I'm leveling Lightning Blast, it'll cast the one that I've leveled. So if you had Arcane Ascendancy and you took this point, you just get a level 1 Lightning Blast. Would get cast. But, you know, I'm getting this level 16 one cast with all the perks. So that's cool. And I still don't have an arena key. Yeah, so there's probably a lot of other synergies like that to help make a strong build. We're just working through this thing at the moment, which... Okay, we're completed. You can't go back to it. Alright. Enemies deal 25% increased damage. Yeah. Okay. So we've just gotten to the end game and trying to work through this thing, which is, I guess... It reminds me of the Synthesis end game in Path of Exile. The floating island sort of in the void. Just the way it looks. I don't think it acts like that. Can't do 25% more damage if you're dead. They've got leaderboards too. related to the characters, which I think is cool. Oh, they've got their, what's the different take on the solo self-found is like the character itself is completely solo. I think with the Path of Exile stuff, a lot of that comes down to the gear that's available while you're leveling. So I know what you mean, that like you have to, if you want to complete the campaign and get to the end game, you've got to make something that's capable of actually beating enemies, right? Or be willing to run into a boss, do 10% damage before dying, and then rinse and repeat until boss is finally dead. And I guess the problem is a lot of the people that put out build guides don't put guides out for builds that will get there if you're very skilled but are very underpowered, because what's the point? You know? Whereas for some people they'll be like, yeah, but I'm sick and tired of playing this build, this build, this build, or this build. Or these three variants of the same build. So unless you're lucky enough to get, while you're leveling your league starter, you'd need to get a certain unique that you could use that would change things. And the chances of getting those are usually, you know, because there's hundreds of uniques, so the chance of getting the one you need is not very strong.
I cannot do that.
So I think for most people, it's, unless you're playing it for other specific goals, it'd be very easy to get bored playing similar builds. Unless you use it as a way of like, I try to change it up every league and play something slightly different for that reason. But also I've had some leagues where my starters just not worked out, and I've sort of limped along until I beat Katava and just, you know, struggle at maps. Whereas in the leagues that I've had, you know, a very solid league starter, you know, I play a lot more and then get other items. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could use that with this. Or Appeal, it does allow off meta, but you just can't. You've got to build differently. Like you still have to. And where it's tough is knowing these numbers, and you've got to use like Path of Building or some other third-party tool to get there. You need to be able to hit the damage numbers and have the defenses. The defenses are the easy ones, right? Because you know that your resist caps are 75, and there's other defenses you might want to, like a certain amount of hit points you need to have. But damage scaling is hard, can be hard to achieve with some of the skills, especially during the campaign. Wait, am I supposed to open that every time? I only just noticed that. I could think I've only done a couple of them. And I guess that's it. It's like, but it just makes it easier for that to happen. Like, you play a bunch of other RPGs, and if the game's easy enough, then the crappy builds will still win, you know what I mean? Whereas if you build and a lot of meta builds don't get discovered because you can have a very, well, like I said, crappy build that will still do enough damage to beat the bosses. Whereas when you get a game that actually has a difficulty curve in there that requires you to hit some minimum targets, otherwise you're probably just not going to beat bosses, or they'll take forever. And some of those bosses you might just run out of flask charges for if you're using that. it's very easy to see that you can feel shoehorned into other builds. But a lot of it's about getting the right scaling from different nodes and on the tree. But a lot of the builds that I look through have a lot of similarity, because most of them build towards the bit. There's a big chunk of life just on the bottom left of center. Things like equilibrium, whatever it is. You know, where you can lower resistances of enemies. That and the strong, and the strong ones are always going to be strong, right? Affix shards, okay. I like that you get specific weapons out of those. All modifiers last for 2 echoes, so they're going to change if I do more. I've been fortunate that I am terrible at coming up with my own builds or ideas of what I want to do. So that leaves me in a position where I can either go into a game and beat my head against it, but I like to think I'm not an idiot and I try not to do that. Or I can just have some fun for a day or two doing my own thing until it gets to that point where you reach that brick in the wall because you've made something that or is not strong enough. And then I go look up a build. I'm happy just playing a meta thing to just try and play it well. But I know a lot of people that, you know, like to come up with their own ideas and stuff, and there's definitely a lot of games out there that you can do that, but it's kind of a I don't know what the word is for it. It's like almost like trying to reinvent the wheel. You know, instead of using all the knowledge that the community's come up with along the time. Yeah. You want to break the meta and it still be a challenge regardless of whether you go meta or not. The thing is with that, like, it depends on the game, but like a real simplistic view of it is, imagine you're playing rock, paper, scissors, right? Except there's no rock. Okay, so you're playing paper, scissors. Okay. Yeah, you can go meta. No, wait. If I look at it, someone told me this, and I thought I can't look at it. You know, it's rock, paper, scissors, except you only get the choice of two of them, because the enemy is always throwing the other one. You can try and break the meta all you want, but you're not going to come up with the right answers. Now, in a game like that, that sucks because the meta is really thin, like really narrow. There's very few options. In fact, there's one. Well, there's two, but one of them sucks. So it's totally cool to go off meta, but you, like I said, you still have to do the things that are required to win. And a lot of roleplay games that is, you know, coming up, you've got to hit certain statistics. Whereas things like, especially in isometric ARPGs, whereas in something that's more, you could possibly, no, I think there'd just be too much passive damage in some games. Whereas you look at like players that do, looking at a different style of game like Dark Souls, and players do no-hit runs with no gear, right? There's videos out there of some dude, you know, and his Dark Soul and his Hollow running around in its underwear with a, you know, fisting the enemies. Okay. Like, that's truly breaking the meta. But there's a huge amount of skill required to do that. So it's like a trade-off. You love games like... Well, you can do that in almost any game. You just need to have the skill. Right? Like, you could totally do that in Path of Exile. You just gotta have the skill. Unless there's an enemy that is... Like, unless there's a point where you are guaranteed to take X amount of damage, well, then you'd have to have X amount of defense for that. But that's then with like games like any game like that with stats, whether it be like a Dark Souls or Diablo, Path of Exile, this game, an MMO. Let's go with World of Warcraft because does anything else really count? Meta happens because it's really just the strongest, and a lot of people don't want to spend their fun time getting whipped because they chose to use their fist instead of a sword.
Fools! Fools!
Which makes sense, right? But if you've got more time or you want to spend it doing it slightly tougher. It's like doing a gimped run in any like Dungeons and Dragons campaign. You take crappy stats so you can have something that's intentionally weaker to make it a bit more challenging. It's like the self-inflicted way of turning the difficulty up a little bit. Admiral Harton. That was a good fight during the campaign. Well, you got to kill him twice in the campaign. Stuff right. I think the filter's good. Huh. What that staff though? That's interesting. Probably not. Probably not. It's not about being less effective. Yeah, you find a strange combo that works. So I think what happens there, what a lot of people want to do is they want to find something that's not meta that is as strong as meta, and usually that's not going to happen. I'm not saying never, sometimes it does happen and it's amazing, but then that can become meta because what happens is you found something new that's just as effective. So people that have played the same sort of build for the last 3 characters, they're like, oh, this one's new and it's just as strong, I want to try it. But that's the reason why, so usually, yeah, you can get off-meta stuff to work, but it won't work as well. Or if you do get it to work as well, you'll probably find that you've raised your own skill, and if you went and played a meta build, that would work even better. Okay. Heaps better. I got cast speed on this one. Maybe elemental resist. What am I missing? Necro resist. Do I care? A little bit. What tier is that? Oh, tier 6 crit strike chance. Tier 5 increased cast speed. No, tier 1. Okay, we can rank that up. And the melee resists? Melee resists are over, but that's fine. Doing some crafting. Okay. Completely mitigates minor fracture, reduces. Modifies the outcome of a craft, reducing instability. Okay, let's try. What do I do with this? Removes all affixes, removes random affix. Okay, no, I don't want to use any of those. Reducing the instability by up to 60%. There you go. I don't have any more cast speed. Oh, I need more cast speed. Oh, so I need to find something with cast speed. Oh, there we go. Nope. Ah, okay. Where's my vendor? Do you have cast speed? Cast speed. One thing that I'm looking forward to doing a lot more in this game is the crafting, because it's a lot more deterministic than most of the games like this. And it still has that little bit of randomness. The gloves had cast speed? That might be as an implicit. Yeah. So it's only the affixes that you can break down and get the shards for. That's alright, we can always craft more on it later. Oh, hang on, was there a... Oh. Alright, we'll get something else. I'll keep crafting on that. Conquer the timelines questions. Still need to find a key. Oh, okay, we can do this. Because I got the... We're at the thing. The ransacked camp. In this timeline, the Immortal Empire secures a decisive victory over the living outcast to quell the rebellion. Return to the remains of the outcast camp to find any survivors. Okay. Found a survivor.
Hmm?
Did no one else survive? Money, 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 money. Area level 1? I don't know about that. Oh, things are dying reasonably well, but alright. Defeat the necromancers that are found in... Okay.
Fools. Fools.
It is, hey. The way the map backs off. I like this map when I first opened up. I'm like, yeah, this looks good. Like, there's a lot of games that have maps that don't bother you, which is, I think, the most important thing. You need to be able to live with the map, and especially as someone like I play with the map on the screen in front of me. So the game's got to be able to handle, like, I've got to be able to deal with it there. And there's a lot of games that do that okay, or good enough. And there's a lot of games that don't, where I'm just like, nah, can't play with the map down here. I've got to put the map up here, and now I don't want to play you. But this one does it really well. It looked like it was dry. It hugs the wall a little bit too much. You can change the
I cannot do that.
like the transparency of the bits that are like the walls and stuff. It does fix that a lot, but you need to be able to sort of read, especially in some of the really tight space ones. You need to be able to read like where's internal or external. Hey, Toxic Trees, the day's going well, man. Finished the campaign, started endgame, really enjoying it. But yeah, especially the cave system, it just looks like it's following the boundary too close. The Path of Exile one. This one's good. It's nice and, you know, gives you enough of the information. Yeah, fluid's a really good way of putting it. Like, it just sort of... It's like they've taken like all the little bits and pieces, right? And then just applied a smoothing or something. Something simple just to not make it deviate heaps. I play this game a lot? No, this is my second character. I did a Primalists... a primal, whatever I guess it is, made him Beastmaster up until I killed Hearten on the Dreadnought, and then did a little bit of the sand area, and then I just wasn't enjoying it. But I knew it was the character and not the game, so rerolled Mage. I mean, I was enjoying it when I started, but I was just sort of a mix of totems and wolves. But only because that's the spells you have when you start. And then I didn't really want to play totems. I wanted to play wolves, but it sort of meant probably needing to go melee, and I tried, but I don't like melees in these games. Except for the spin to wins. Gotta have a spin to win build somewhere. Melee is difficult? Okay, so... well, one, I'm not very good at melee, but I figured it did feel a lot more difficult than other games. That could be a build too as well. Or how I built it, probably a better way. Yeah, I'm loving the mage. Totems and wolves sound like a fun build. Well, it was fun at the start, but the problem is like how you need to scale. You've got X amount of points to spend, so you've got to sort of pitch one way or another. So points were either going to be going into sort of spell damage and totems, or minion damage and minion stuff, you know. Can you have totem wolves? No, unfortunately. They were spike totems. They were still pretty good, though. Wait, no, I didn't get my arena key yet. Where's there no rewards from there? Where's that thing that... Oh, that was a quest? It did too well. I think a totem build could work. Well, I'm sure all the builds work, but for me, I'm sure I could get a totem build to work, but we'd have to focus more on spells and stuff. A chance to bleed shard. Okay, that one comes at 120. We're at 56. Extra experience. What are these worth? Are these worth more? It's worth 14. Rare helmets. Tones of experience? Yeah, let's go that way. I really like the take on crafting they've done with this game. I can't compliment that enough. Do I know how to get corruption? No, what's corruption? I don't even know what corruption is. It has to do with the echoes. Okay.
Fools.
I think that guy had that comes back to life after 2 seconds mod.
I cannot do that.
Mobs are well designed, yeah. There's been a couple of them that have been done deliberately to almost have like some camouflage. So they're like able to be stealthy without just having that standard you can't see them because they're stealth.
I cannot do that.
Like some dryads in an area that were it was very snowy and dark. And they were sort of white and black fur. Or skin, I guess. Fur and skin. Right, don't click it. Oh, I've already done it. Reward me. What was I waiting for? I was waiting on like... cast speed, wasn't it? Oh, a chance to slow? Got more chance to slow. Ah! Should have waited for the cast speed. Nah, that's fine. If it fails, like that one just fails, so now I can't craft on it anymore. Sometimes they can fail. So a damaging one. So this one's it says 11%. Can't see behind me here. Of minor, which is just a fail, so you can't craft on anymore. It's got a damaging percent or a destructive. Damaging will reduce one of the affixes by 1 to 2 levels. Destructive will reduce 2 of the affixes by 1 to 2 levels. No, you can't repair it. That's it. It's no longer craftable. You can still use it though. No, it just didn't get upgraded. So, yeah, crunch. Yeah, and because you're choosing one at a time a specific affix to change, like you can either upgrade the ones that are already there, like mana regen would be really nice for me actually at this point in time. I only had the one. So it just went to tier 2 and now has tier 2 mana regen. It rolled 16 and a range of 15 to 19. Yeah, and you can do... there's items you can use to negate some of it. And then there's some real... like, you can like turn it down into a base. If it's got a lot of... If it's a base that you really want, but it doesn't have a... It's got the affixes you don't want. And then there's the shattering, which is what I was looking before when I wanted... something else. So I'll shatter this one. And no longer. So it's gonna get some affixes. So I got 5 necrotic resistance shards, 1 stun avoidance shard, and 1 elemental damage shard. So I could use those shards now on a different piece. Yeah, and the more value on the pieces there are, the more chance for shards. So we've got tier 5, tier 2, tier 2, tier 1. I only got 3 shards off that one. But and you get shards from killing stuff and playing as well. Yeah, crafting system's really good. So you can get affix shards as a reward as well. Also, if you're not playing like the solo characters, you know, you only really want to go for shards that you're going to build with. But if you don't have a solo character, you get to keep all your shards across all your characters. So rare pole arms. Let's keep going for shards, I guess. Yeah, I think they've had 2 major patches. There's a roadmap for it to say what they want to do before they release. I believe they're looking at release later this year. Have I been streaming WoW for years? Yeah, I have. I started streaming on a very limited basis quite a few years ago. Just for, you know, just a bit of a giggle. And I enjoyed it, so I just started streaming more and more. And started like scheduling for it and stuff, and oh. Flame Guard Solar blocks hit from distance enemies. It's kind of weird. When I'm in Path of Exile, in mapping, I usually clear out as much of the map as I can within a certain time frame. You know, like I almost always get down to the less than 50 enemies remaining, because I'm looking for like that other map or other pieces, you know, other things that map's cost me to put in that map device. I don't want to miss out on them. But straight up with this, like I just want to get to the objective and then get out, right? Because sure, you could get items, but I can get items from anywhere else, and there's no maps limit. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's had its ups and downs. It's been really cool. You know, there's been some times with very popular games. You know, Slay the Spire was really good for the channel. That put a, you know, allowed me to get some better equipment. You know, and played for a bunch of games. I'm getting to the stage with my Path of Exile though. Like I playing Path of Exile for a while, but not. I mean, I've got like 700 hours, I think. But I don't play a lot. Like I play a chunk when the league starts, and then depending on how my character's going, that determines how much more I play that league, amongst other things like real life and whatnot. But I'm getting to the stage now where I'm starting to consistently do all right, like kicking off into maps and getting more. And I really want to be playing this league, but I started playing this because I saw it. I'm like, oh, that looks really interesting. I want to give it a go. And now I just want to play this, but I want to, you know, I've got my character at the moment, like I'm starting red maps and delving really well. And I've got 12 watchstones, so I'm going to be pushing off. I really want to get a Cyrus kill this league. It's the best league I've had ever. But, you know, I want to play this. So, I'm torn. Ooh, what are those? Rare relics. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, there's a lot of players that don't. Like, whenever I watch some of the really good Path of Exile players, they know when they don't need to really sort of backtrack and hit maps up and stuff anymore. And I think a lot of it's more just to do with your map supply itself. But I still feel like if I'm not doing that, I'm robbing myself of what because the map is a currency, right? So when you put in the map device, you're essentially paying for it with the map. Yeah, but if you're at the stage where you've got enough maps where it doesn't matter if you only hit half a map because you beat the boss, you know, and you did whatever the other objective is, like if it's a Zana map and you ran that and you beat that boss as well, or you got all the delve stuff, or you got the red beast for Einhar, you know,
Fools.
or your temple things for Alba. You know, you really don't need to do more, but I feel like I'm cheating myself. But it's just a mindset, right? It's like understanding that games like this, you don't need to pick up all the loot. you don't even need to go back in even if there is some kind of okay things. You know, or clearing out the maps in the campaign. Like, I think for games like this, a lot of people, that takes them a while. They want to kill everything. It's like kind of hanging around, picking up pennies when there's dollars in the next zone. But don't even do that in the next zone because there's notes in the one after that. No mana. Oh, I've got points to spend on spells too.
I cannot do that.
Well, that's the thing. One of the reasons that drew me into Path of Exile was the end game. I just got sick of like playing a lot of the games like this that. Like, I like this sort of gameplay good enough, but it's not my most favourite style of game to play. And games like this without an end game, I don't see the point of replaying them. And people say, oh, you can try with a different build. Like, what do I care? Like, if I've already seen the story and beaten the last boss and there's no end game, what do I care? You know? And usually the stories in these games aren't the greatest. They're okay. Some of them are interesting. Once. At best. You know, but I was watching a friend play Path of Exile. And he's just jumping in and out of maps at the end. And I was getting curious about the Atlas. You know. And we were just chatting. Just casually playing. And the more I watched, I'm like, hang on, what's going on here? Yeah. The Diablo story is pretty cool. Hey, Panz, you know how you had no mana and there was no enemies and you could have stopped and gotten mana back? You should do that. I should do that. I should have done that before pulling boss. Well, that's the thing, yeah. Blizzard, like, there was a lot of cinematics and some good storytelling behind that. On top of the ISO ARPG stuff, right? When I go negative mana, does it hurt me? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. No, I think maybe there's just a buffer. So expensive. Lightning blast hits have added lightning damage in 4 conditions of chain. Okay. I don't think we get a cheaper option for that either. Oh, actually, I have more. Flame Ward costs less mana. That's not the one we need to cost mana. Grants more ward. Oh, we're going for Claymore does lightning now. Yeah, music's good. You're a good, strong team. Let's increase that mana regen. And you... Oh, what's that? It's got such low spell damage. It's dropped because it's got a tier... I think that's a tier 6 on it. With the increased lightning damage. But it's such a low base level. Yeah, it's tier 6. Actually, there's one criticism that really bugs me. The close dialogue button is the same action as the bring up menu button. Right, it's the same in the keybinds. It's the same thing. It's close all, open main menu. These should be separate. Right? So that open main menu could stay on escape and close all can be a button that you want to have anywhere else. And that way if you've got nothing happening and I hit close all, it should just do nothing. Because there's been some fights where this pops up. Now you can still keep playing over it. Kind of. It's weird.
Take a load off.
Because it's trying to get menu input, I guess. And it's like, And the open menu button should by default, I guess, if you're speaking to someone and you click open menu, it should just probably just close and then open the menu as well. That's the only complaint I have. I've played other games recently where there's been multiple things, multiple actions bound to the same internal button. And I think quite often, as soon as you have a slash and you're doing a different action, don't do that. That's you get a refund, yeah. You know, everything should be one. You know. But other than that, yeah. Minor gripe.